Hi guys, it's Saturday, February 2nd, 2013. I'm back. Thank goodness God. I wanted that surgery, but I'll tell you what, I've told people, you gotta want something like that. You really do have to want it. It's not something that, oh, I think I'll go have a major surgery, so I can play act that I'm a little boy. No, no. Uh, For the most part, I came through it really, really well. The doctor was very pleased. I'm pleased. I went into it healthy with a good um, physical, healthy, mentally healthy, all of that. And I've stayed that way as much as possible. I have had my problems with nausea and pain, and I tried to take pain pills, and they made me sick. And when I tried to take a nausea medication, it made me sick. So, and a lot of it had to do with the binder, because it presses down on the upper abdomen and the gut, and so you can eat very little or drink very little without being upset, and then you have to almost lay flat or keep your body straight so there's no pressure on the gut whatsoever, the upper abdomen. So, and then getting home was a whole another chapter, which I'm writing about in my blog now. Finally putting up another new blog. So I just wanted to touch base real quickly, put up another YouTube. Um, when I left here, um, over it'll be 2 weeks. Well, it's 2 weeks today. I was 182 pounds, and I knew that I was going to lose some weight, muscle, some mass off of the breast tissue, and that there was a pound each on either side. So that was 2 pounds, and then okay, I was 182 and I'm now 174.4 this morning. So I've lost, my math is not good. 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8 pounds, almost 8 pounds. Uh, two of those being the breast tissue. So I've lost about 6 pounds because my throat was closing in because the Adam's apple was growing faster than the surrounding cartilage would accommodate. Uh, the tubing hadn't grown enough to accommodate the size of the voice box, so I was basically being choked off. I couldn't swallow food, almost couldn't swallow liquids. I tried to get something down, and no matter how much I chewed the food down, mashed it down, it would stick. It was almost like it was sticking on a little shelf in here, and it would hit the full level and it would come back up. I'd start choking and gagging, and my eyes would bulge. Ah! Um, and it would just come all back out again. So I wasn't able to eat, and liquids, I had to very, very slowly sip liquids, and it didn't seem to matter if it was warm or cold. Uh, Someone says, well, the warmth will loosen it. Well, unfortunately, warmth actually expands the tissues. So cold actually felt better. If I sipped cold water, um, it felt better. Oh, something I learned. When you're nauseous, they tell you, sip on cold carbonated beverages and like Coke and such, and munch on dry soda crackers, dry toast. When I talked to my surgeon in San Francisco right after the surgery, and the nausea was playing havoc with me, and I told him what I was doing, some uh, cold carbonated beverages, etc. He says, "Oh no," he says, "this actually makes it worse." And I says, "The carbonation makes it worse?" He says, "Yes." Oh, another lie that the government's been telling us. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Ah, well, but actually, no, there is no Easter Bunny. But yes, there is a Santa Claus. So, so I just stuck to just nice, clean ice water, which I love. Good, good, fresh, cold ice water. I drink a lot of it anyway, so I just did that. I just kept a big glass mug of it constantly and just sipped it all through the day because I was getting dehydrated and I was starving to death. My blood sugar was down. Um, I was dehydrating, and that alone will make you sick. That will make you nauseous and sick. And so he had me drinking. Uh, he says if you can get some salt into your salt and maybe a little sugar into your water. So sugar in my water didn't taste good, but I could put a little bit of salt into some warm water in the morning and put a little bit of that down. And I couldn't even tolerate coffee. I was trying to drink coffee, and I could put my raw turbinated sugar in there, and but I couldn't take that either. It was hard. He mentioned, some tea with some sugar, so I put a little bit of that down, but I couldn't put enough to really be sustaining myself. So my thoughts were, well, this is going to get so bad that I'm not going to be able to swallow it all. And so I was thinking either an immediate fix would be a feeding tube, just enough to get down past the blockage so I can get stuff into my gut. And the other option is not to get another shot of tea until this thing starts resolving itself. What was scary is when I said something to my family physician here in Squim before I left, and then when I talked to my surgeon in San Francisco, I told him what my body was doing, and they got this look on their face like deer in the headlights, like they didn't seem to know what I was talking about. I thought, oh dear, we're rowing this boat by ourselves. The captain has left the ship. So it was me going on the internet doing just as much research as I could find, and even stepping away from the trans community forums, and going into the area of male puberty, the growth of the Adam's apple, and all of that. That is where I started finding the information I needed. Um, and that's where I was making the decisions at that point, which really the patient should always do. The person should always have their own interest in mind and study and research enough so they can take care of themselves. They can't leave it to someone else. Um, the doctors are not God. They can't know everything. They've got way too much on their plate for you individually to be their priority. There's too many aspects of science and medicine out there for them to know everything. And what I was going through was just a very small thing in this little corner of transgender male. It's not a common thing. Most guys transition fairly easily, but my voice dropped so quickly, my voice box grew so fast that it created the condition. Luckily, after all of that stuff, um, I it started resolving itself to the point that I could kind of mash up food, get it down with lots of water behind it. And so by the time of last Monday for my shot, I went ahead and had the shot because I'd gotten past it. Things had resolved themselves enough, and they've continued to improve. And I can now put food down for the most part. I still have to be careful and make sure I get a lot of liquid down after the food, but that's even getting better. It's even gotten to the point where I don't have to think about that too much. And as I'm saying that, I love my water. Let's see. What else? So anyway, weight loss. And then with the binder on, not I lost a lot of weight. When I put my jeans back on for my first post-op visit with the doctor, I'd been living in sweats up till then in boxers. Uh, I took some pictures, probably seen them already. on Google Plus. It was like, oh, I be going shopping. Uh, which is fine because I still have too much lady fat or woman fat we call it sitting on the hips, the women's area to catch the fat and hang on to the fat so that we can have babies. So the area is protected for us to have a baby. It's still sitting there. And if you don't look at that one little area of my body, like from the upper thighs, from from the belly button down to the upper thighs, if you don't look at that, the rest of you looks really good. And that's the way it develops, or it'll redistribute. That fat will start coming down. And in that light, now that I've gotten back and I've gotten not having to eat to for comfort, um, and being back off the road now and all of that, and then and having to deal with what I can find on the road to eat, I've gotten back to a healthy diet, and so that's one of my next priorities. That's on the to-do list right now as of this morning, and so back to that, back to healthy eating, because I do have a second chance at this now. I have another chance to a fresh start with the body, uh, for my diet to be clean, for me to pull the fat off. And also, since I can't do any weight bearing exercise like any kind of lifting or body weight lifting, push-ups, etc. Um, my exercising from here on out for the next couple months is going to be aerobic. In other words, um, walking, and which I love to do, but I'm usually so focused on lifting. I love lifting. Yeah, I'll do some walking later. I just want to lift. Give me the plates. That Now I have to focus on that. I can't be distracted by the weights. I have to now. I can now spend that time um, doing cardio work, walking. Building up my heart and lung capacity again. And so that's going to happen. The diet, getting the cardio and respiratory up again. Um, and so the diet, and that, and blah, blah. And oh, hair, face hair. One thing us guys really, that's one of our other priorities is the face hair. Um, I, when I train animals, I've learned to take an existing habit, a natural instinct habit of theirs, and use it to move them toward another um, something I want them to do, a trick. That's what trainers do. A good trainer will do that. They'll take something that the animal already does naturally, and they'll just kind of lead them along to something else. And so, in that respect, I knew that I was just going to watch and see what my facial hair growth was, and then at that point, I would decide what I was going to try and do with it. Well, what I'm coming out with, it's pretty cool. Is I've got a Wolverine. I'm gonna kind of move the headset off for a second. I'm gonna probably go to kind of a Wolverine type hair thing, which is pretty cool. I like that. There again, I like to take something and not have to change it too much to get what I want. I do the same thing gardening with pruning and landscaping. Take something that's already happening naturally, try not to have to change it too much and force it into something. And so that's what that's doing. That's pretty cool. The only thing I'm shaving is underneath here, from here down. That really bugs me. Like when I'm laying, it itches. So I'm shaving from here down for right now. That's the only thing I'm shaving. and then I'm letting the rest of this grow in, and probably do kind of a Wolverine thing. And my barber says, I'm not quite ready to see you in a full beard yet. And I says, you know what, Kirby? It's my face. He says, young guys, and you guys, you want to shave and all this. He says, but it's not that much fun. I says, so you don't want to be a guy? And he says, what? I says, you don't want to shave. You don't want to be a guy. And he said, oh, what? I says, you got to take the whole package. And as a young guy, didn't you want to shave? And he says, yeah, we all did. I says, yeah, well, I'm a young guy. You look at me now and you see an old person, but what I am is a young pubescent boy that's growing his first beard, and it's just far too radical. It's just so cool. I want that beard. And yeah, I may get tired of shaving down the road. I may only shave to the point where I keep it so minimal that it's not going to be a pain. Um, I've got a nice electric razor, triple floating head thing that I bought, a Lady Norelco. How long ago? 1976? Long time. Still in beautiful condition because I take care of my things. And I just use it. And then if I have to do any shaping, um, I I have my little um, my Lady Bic razors. Trim it up. There again, I haven't bought anything special. It doesn't matter to me what color the handles are. Oh, ladies, these are for you. They're pink. And men, these are for you. They're blue. Eh, yeah, and I'm almost 61, and I studied marketing, and guess what? I know what you're doing. Um, anyway, so I using up what I've got. Oh, when I got all done, and he was foo-fooing me up, and he says, "You want a little, what is it, barberry something?" Or I says, "No, no, 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 no." I says, "I don't like scents, smells." I says, I just like to stay clean and have a natural smell." I says, I tried buying a men's underarm deodorant with a little bit of a scent, and it was just, it was terrible. I says, I have not worn any kind of perfume or anything for longer than I can remember, at least over 20 something years. My underarm deodorant is Tom's of Maine, unscented, and I use only a deodorant. I don't use an antiperspirant. You don't want to block your perspiration. You just want to kind of deaden the smell a little bit. So no scent. I says no, no smells. And so he admitted. He says no, I don't use smell either. He says I have to work with smell so much of the time. These guys coming in with heavily covered with this stuff. He says they don't seem to realize after a while how heavy and stifling it is because they get so used to it that they don't smell it. And I've told Bill the same thing. I'll hear him in the bathroom getting all prettied up, and I call him putting his foo-foo on, and he'll come out and I'll say, "Bill, why do you put so much cologne on?" I don't put much on. I just put a little." And man, I could smell him coming from 5 rooms over. And I prefer when I can't smell a cologne on someone. Anyway, personal preference. Okay, upward and onward. Oh, I was watching a movie the other night that I really enjoy. It's called Meet Joe Black. It's with Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt playing Death come to, what's that? Oh, that's my timer telling me I need to lay down and take a nap. That's a whole another story. Um, come to take Anthony Hopkins to the afterlife. And I'm watching the movie, and I'd been looking at the pictures of myself, and I thought, I look like somebody I know. that person looks like somebody I know. I look like Tony Hopkins. So, which is fine by me. He's a good-looking man. So, sure enough, that movie was made at the time he was the same age as I am now. So I went back and I started looking at all the pictures of him over the years, and you know what? I could probably get work as a Anthony Hopkins celebrity lookalike. I'm always looking for money-making adventure adventures. Yeah, I should call it adventures, money-making adventures. I'm always looking for things to dabble in and get my fingers in, and new careers and this and that. And so I see that as an option now. I took a bunch of pictures using poses that he had and posing myself the same way, and damn straight, I am now Tony Hopkins, which is cool. He's a good-looking man. Um, okay, what else? Oh, I have always enjoyed doing correspondence. It used to be way back when I was little, and a lot of the people my age were little. We did pen pals. You know, you could write to someone that lived 2 towns over, or states, or the next country, or something. And now with email and the internet and all of that, I am now corresponding with people all over the world. And the more people are seeing my YouTubes, and they're joining me on Facebook and Google Plus and all of that, my inbox on my email box is staying stuffed. Now, that would be okay if I didn't feel like responding to people, but I've always felt an obligation, whether good or bad, to respond. If someone takes the time to say something to me, something as simple as, "Hey, you're looking really good, going good. I'm there for you, whatever. You're looking good." I feel the responsibility to respond to them. Something just as simple as, "Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the comment. Thank you. Take care. I hope you're doing good." But it's adding up. Now, some of them are deeper relationships, varying depths of relationships, and longer emails. And while we were gone on vacation, that was a vacation, wasn't it? That was my vacation. Oh, damn. Um, it piled up. And that's another on the to-do list now, is start digging through, going down, working my way through all of that. So if I haven't gotten back to you, you probably don't care that I haven't gotten back to you, but it matters to me. It's it's a responsibility I feel a depth for. So I've got a lot of pen pals now, which is really cool. One of the guys was talking about how on YouTube he'd have X number of subscribers or followers, and then all at once the number would jump. And I found the same thing happening. And I think what's happening is you get one person following you, watching you, and then there's someone following or watching them, and every time they add someone, that person sees it, checks you out, adds you, and it's this multiplication thing that's happening. Um, I forget what the word is for it, but it's just an explosion. The people's awareness of you being there, and that's exciting. I I love numbers. I love numbers. Okay, where are we at? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, now that I've gotten the top surgery, um, my next step in paperwork is going to DMV, getting another picture taken with a more masculine face, a beard, and getting my gender marker changed from F to M. Once that's done, I can also do my passport, and I will get my name and my gender changed, my gender marker changed on that also. I am not, as far as I know, no plans to change my birth certificate. I've done a lot of research, which I always do, and I have found no real good reason to go through that process. Um, I just don't feel the need to do it. Some people feel the need to go all the way back to the beginning and change their entire history. Um, but the truth is, that's who I was born. That's who I was designated as when I was born, and that's just part of my history. I think being older has a lot to do with that. Um, I think when you're younger, you don't have as much of a past. But when you're older, you've got so much past there that it's a lot of history. And I think you start thinking in terms of what's really important, what's not. So the only thing I don't ever see myself changing for any reason, for any practical reason, is my birth certificate. So it will stay with my birth name and my birth marker. Um, so let's see. So after the DMV gender marker and picture and the passport name, gender, and picture change, that's going to be everything. I'm actually going into town on Monday to change my voter registration, and all that required was my new driver's license number, which I've already had. And some people say, well, why did you get your driver's license changed so quickly? The first things you have to do in order to change anything is you have to get your social security name changed first, and then your name and number, and then you have to get your driver's license changed to your new name and and gender if you want it. And I had to do that. I had to do that in order to have documented ID so I could change my credit cards, my health insurance, my everything else, my banking, anything, everything. And so I did that early because one of my friends asked, well, why did you do it so early? Because you've changed. And I said, I had to. Because it's only going to cost another $10 to go back in now to DMV and get another picture and the gender marker changed. And it just wasn't an option. There was just too much hassle. There was just going to be too much can of worms going on if I didn't change it. So that's going to happen. Let's see, what else? I see the doctor on Monday, and I think it's my 18th week on T, my 18th, yeah, shot. It's my 2-week checkup since surgery. Um, I am going to follow up on having my medical diagnoses changed, documented in stone that I do not have bipolar, do not have epilepsy, do not have all of the mental conditions that I have been burdened with all these years. Get all of that off the records so that now the I can go to a new health insurance company or to my agent and say I want a better policy now because I am not. They can no longer red flag me as having bipolar and denying me coverage in certain areas. Um, they want to play by their rules. I can play by their rules. So I'm going to do the follow up on that. I want that in stone now again. So that's going to get done. Let's see. I talked about eating healthy again, and one of my other to-do list things was starting to work back on. I found some nice online healthy cooking sites that I'm gonna watch every now and then, pick up a few new things. I don't cook complicated. I cook very, very simply. Simple ingredients, simple cooking techniques, a lot of stir fry, saute, um, and just good basic food. For instance, this morning I took a half package of the silken tofu, the firm silken tofu, cut that in half, and I sauteed up some frozen vegetables. I took a little olive oil in a hot pan, sauteed up some frozen stir vegetables till they got kind of crunchy. And then I dropped in a couple eggs and a couple whole eggs, that half carton of tofu, and stirred that all up with some tamari soy sauce for my salting agent and my mineral contents. Stirred that up really good and made a scramble out of it, and that was breakfast. And when I was done cooking, and I salted it to taste with sea salt. I use unrefined sea salt. I use unrefined um, sugar, which is just basic cane sugar that's just been dehydrated. It's been had the water evaporated out of it. It hasn't been stripped of anything. Same thing with the salt. It's just been evaporated, so it's natural. It hasn't been stripped. Uh, a company hasn't chosen to strip it and then add things to it and then hand it to me as, here. No, you don't need to go all that. Just take the water out of it and hand it to me. Um, so just a little natural sea salt to, and then like for dinner, it's going to be I take a skinless, boneless chicken breast, and I cut that up into little bite-sized pieces because I like the size of the little bite-sized pieces. And I saute those up in a little olive oil. There again, I like to use a good quality olive oil because it's expensive, yes, but I don't use much. I use very little. And a lot of times I don't even use olive oil when I'm sauteing my stuff. I just use water. I don't use oil. Anyway, saute up the chicken like that, and then I have my frozen vegetables that I drop in there. Once the chicken is browned, I drop in my frozen vegetables, push the chicken off to the side, drop in the vegetables in the middle, start sauteing those up, basically so they're heated, because they're cooked. They're just, no, they're not cooked. Anyway, I digress. Then I also, ahead of time, I prepare multi-grain, multi-variety grains, rices and stuff that I have pre-cooked, setting ready, and I just take a scoop of that, drop it in on top of all of that, kind of pat it down, let it cook a bit, add some sea salt to that or some soy sauce uh, for taste, and then I may add some either some sea salt, salted redskin peanuts, or pistachios, or soy nuts, or um, oh gosh, what's it, sunflower seeds. Just a little crunchy, little seed, little healthy stuff in there, just a little crunchies. And the whole thing, within 5 minutes, I've got it cooked, ready. One pan, easy cleanup, healthy, and that's the way I cook. So my recipes really usually use basically exactly the same ingredients, um, but I just use the seasonings. I'll vary my seasonings a little bit, or I'll vary my vegetables or the type of cedar nut I use in them. Sometimes I will cook up some whole grain pasta that I'll add a little of that instead of the rice. That'll be my whole grains in there. And it just comes out to a nice sized little bowl, and that's my meal. So I can't think of anything else, and I've been going on and on and on forever. Uh, Putting up the new blog, um, more pictures. Things are going good. I'm becoming Wolverine, becoming Anthony Hopkins with a Wolverine beard. How cool is that? You want to talk about the combination package? Wouldn't you have loved to seen Anthony Hopkins in his heyday with a Wolverine? I would. Anyway, I'm glad to be back, guys. I'm on the road. The incisions are doing great. Everything's looking good. You can see the pictures. I feel good. I'm getting a handle on this thing. I'm back home to my beloved Squim, Washington property. Um, so no, I've been talking too much. So I'll let you go, and I'll talk to you later.